He's an all-time great for the Seattle Seahawks, that we know, a five-time Pro Bowler, most recently with the San Francisco 49ers. But this is troubling and alarming, and a situation where, just reading the details, Paul, he lost his mind. The 911 call was released yesterday after we went off the air of the Richard Sherman arrest up in Seattle. And there was damage to property, an attempt to gain entrance into a residence, which constituted the burglary charges. But the more serious issues, his wife, Ashley Moss, called 911, where on the call she says he's threatening to kill himself to the dispatcher, and goes on to say he sent text messages to people saying he's going to hang himself. This is like an effing emergency. I need officers here now. The police arrived. They were able to calm him down. Sherman then fought the arresting officer when they told him that he was going to be taken into custody. And that's when they released the canine unit and had everything else involved with this. He's an all-time great for the Seattle Seahawks, that we know, a five-time Pro Bowler, most recently with the San Francisco 49ers. But this is troubling and alarming, and a situation where, just reading the details, Paul, he lost his mind. I realize alcohol may be involved, maybe who knows what else. It's very out of character for Richard Sherman. When we mentioned this yesterday, when you saw the headline and the name associated, you did a double take because it's so out of the norm for him and what he's represented over the years. Apparently he's going in front of a judge today for arraignment, but it's troubling in hearing the details of all this.
He got unfairly typecast, if I remember correctly, when he was coming out into the league as, maybe on his looks a little bit, and he's from a tough neighborhood, if I'm remembering correctly. And he is a guy that combated that whole thing. Hey, don't stereotype me. Went to Stanford, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm a smart guy, smart businessman, hell of a football player, all these things. And he did a lot to turn a lot of these stereotypes from Compton.
Yeah, he's from Compton. Yeah.
Turn a lot of these stereotypes on their head. Now this happening fuels some of these idiots who typecast him. A very unfortunate and bad story. Now this 911 call becomes a big story, and the woman who took the call is getting bashed almost universally, Mike Florio leading the charge. I don't think it's fair, personally. If people saying that she's not sympathetic, she's not empathetic, and certainly you would want that to be part of the tone, but her job is to get information. She asks the wife for an address, and she doesn't get an address. She asks the wife, who's unclear as to whether Sherman is trying to fight or being physical, to define what's going on there, because she needs to know. Is there violence happening, or is there a threat of violence happening? That's an important distinction, I would imagine, for authorities who are on the way there to know what they're getting ready for, and she's being unclear on that. And the 911 operator's trying to kind of jerk her back into, hey, give me this information that I need so that we're ready when we get there for what we're about to face.
Yes.
She's not a psychologist. She's not the person to calm the situation down. She's the person to get the information. Now, her tone wasn't great, particularly at the end. She got frustrated. She's a little nonchalant. But ultimately, her job's to get the information, I think. And I think she's taken too much flack for trying to do that. And I understand in the heat of the moment, you're not going to be at your best when you're calling 911, but I think we're all programmed to a degree. In an emergency, I got to tell them where to come to protect me and my kids. And she never provided the address from the snippet that we heard.
Well, and last night and today, I reached out to a friend of mine, Philip Noel, who's a 911 director, just to get some context here with exactly what the protocol is, because there's a lot more people involved behind the scenes when this is going on. And should we be critical of the tone? We don't hear 911 calls on a daily basis, certainly in regards to an issue like this. And I thought, well, instead of just reading text, let's just have Phil on. Phil, thanks for joining us, man. Hope you're doing well.
Hey, doing good. Thanks, guys.
Hey, so as a 911 director, you heard the 911 call. What do you think of the criticism that this woman is facing for how she handled the call that came into her?
Yeah, so first of all, I think Paul is absolutely on the right track with his line of thinking. And it's so hard when you hear just the audio, just the raw audio of a 911 call, to really understand everything that's going on in that call and behind that call, and the people that are involved while that call is happening. It's a myriad of things that are happening, and the public is just hearing the words that are being spoken. So first and foremost, the call taker in this situation, in that center, there's probably call takers, and then there's probably dispatchers. The call takers take the call, they get the information. This is being put into a computer that others can see, including obviously the dispatcher, who has to get the assets en route to wherever they're going. And not every call, no 911 call, especially an intense one, really ever goes by the book. It's a very fluid situation. So while she didn't necessarily state the address, there are many other ways and tools that call taker and dispatcher are going to have to determine that address without it needing to be verbally stated. Now, does that help? 100%, absolutely. Location is the most important thing with a 911 call. You don't have a location, you don't have anything. But that call taker is literally the first responder to that scene, and they were probably getting officers en route within seconds of that call being connected, which you don't obviously hear in the call, and you wouldn't know if you don't know the inner workings of how a 911 call works. So her job is to first and foremost get the location, get them, and get that information input into the system so someone else can move the assets, and then she has to set the tone for that call. And sometimes that takes a harsh tone. If you don't establish that early on, especially in a call like that where it's intense and things are out of control, if you lose control of that call in the front end, it's really hard to get it back.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified every time Outkick 360 goes live. We are live weekdays, 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern, right here across the Outkick network. And while you're at it, like this video and let us know what you think in the comments below.